It's not an illness I complain about, but it comes up every year and sometimes throughout the year, but especially leading up to the Indianapolis 500. I just can't help but go and look at old photographs and read stories and watch old race replays and, of course, play some simulators and games that play the Indy 500. And so I wanted to show off something and maybe give a little bit of this remedy for my sickness and hopefully entertain a few folks along the way. And so my drug of choice this year has been the 1985 kart mod for rFactor2. And this is a mod that came out a couple of years ago by a user named Chief Wiggum. It's been released in this perpetual demo state, but really it simulates the 1985 kart season, and it does that very well. I think it's called a demo because it doesn't feature every single car that raced in every race, but it includes more than enough to have a good time with, and it's been great to explore and experience, and rFactor2 is such a good handling and feeling sim that literally anything IndyCar related is just something I'll eat up. Why the 1985 kart season? It was an interesting time for kart. You had super high horsepower with turbos. I think these cars put out around 700 horsepower, but turbocharged, so getting on the power is no easy feat. You still had ground effects, not quite to the extent as it was even a year or two earlier, but still quite extreme ground effect downforce. And couple that with the awe-inspiring and beautiful simplicity of the car liveries from the time period, and you've got something quite special. 1985, of course, is known for the spin-in-win, Danny Sullivan spinning between turns 1 and 2 at the Indy 500 and ultimately winning the race, not hitting anything while he spun. But it's also known as a close championship battle between the Unsers. Unser Sr. had taken over for the full season for Rick Mears and Team Penske. Rick Mears got pretty badly hurt in 1984 at Sen Air, breaking both of his ankles, and so he only raced on the ovals, the high-speed ovals, but he couldn't really use his ankles right and everything to shift and all that on the road courses. So he stuck with Team Penske, Rick Mears, and raced on the ovals. And then for the full season, Unser Sr. drove for Team Penske. Surprisingly, or maybe not surprisingly, Unser Sr. was able to put together a really good season, getting one win at Phoenix when it counted, and then a series of podiums throughout the season. It all came down to the wire with Unser Jr., his son, at Tamiami, the final round of the season, and Unser Sr. was able to come away with a 4th place finish and win the championship by 1 point over his son. A dramatic finish to the season, and something I can't even really imagine happening today. I can't imagine Brian Herta beating Colton Herta to the championship in 2021. So the mod features 3 chassis from the 1985 season. You get the March 85, the Lola T900, and the Eagle 85 GC. And that makes up the large majority of what was actually raced in 1985. There were older chassis raced, though. It was very common for teams, especially underfunded teams, to race previous seasons. So March 84s, March 83s even, and some of the older Lolas, the T800 and everything, also raced in the season. And I guess that's why this is called the demo, because it doesn't feature every single combination. But what you do have are 32 oval cars and 26 road cars, which is more than enough to have fun with. It's pretty much the whole grid for Indy and most of the full season and everything. And for power plant, of course, most of the cars, almost all of them, use the Cosworth DFX. I think out of the 33 cars that started the Indy 500 in 1985, only 5 of them use different power plants. Some used a Buick V6, of course, and then a couple Chevys as well. So I think this is a very good mod and maybe scoots under the radar because it's called a demo. I know for a little while I didn't really think it was done to any point of completeness that would be worth playing, but it absolutely is. So let's check it out. All right, so coming out of the pits here at Indy, driving Arie Luyendijk's Revimi Motorsports car. He was the Rookie of the Year. Oh, I got a car flying by. That's Jeff Brabham. Rookie of the Year in 1985. Do a few laps here at Indy. This is, of course, the modern version of Indy that exists for rFactor2. So you do have the apron warm-up lane around the inside of the track, which wouldn't have been there in 1985. I wish so much that period tracks would exist for something like this, but this is still a really good version of Indy. It's spot on and a lot of fun to race as we're flying around here. I'm not quite pushing it just yet. Got to get the tires up to temperature, but the sense of speed in these cars is unreal. It feels like you're going so fast, and if you look at the speed there, as I got a car coming up behind me, I think think it's AJ Foyt. The speed there, no, it's the 44. The speed there as we're going into the turn was 215, which is quite a bit slower than cars go today, but I feel like this feels so much faster, at least scarier. 44 is going to dip in the pits there. I think he tapped the wall. Got Ed Pims now right behind me. Maybe I'm a little bit slow. Try to get some good speed here through the first corner. Turn in a little bit early, but yeah, driving these on an oval, it's all about managing that turbo boost. You don't want to quite get out of the throttle too far. As I breathed it there, you can see on the top of the dash on the top left, I've got a manifold pressure gauge just over 40, and you want to try to keep that as high as you can the whole time. So lifting out of the throttle obviously spools down the turbo, and then when you kick it back in, there's a delay. So if you can keep that spooled up the whole time, you'll definitely have a much easier time racing these cars. If you really crank it down, it's not hard to spin, and so you can imagine how Danny Sullivan might have spun his car, but I can't imagine it. I feel like this would be absolutely terrifying, especially with your ankles hanging over the front axle in the car. So if that didn't illustrate it enough, racing these around an oval is quite scary. It's definitely not like racing a modern car at all. I think if I worked on the setup a little more, maybe peeled back some of the downforce, get it trimmed out, racing on a knife's edge like they actually did, it would be probably one of the most difficult, maybe scariest things to do in racing overall. The turbo kicking in if you get out of the throttle too much is really hard to control even on the oval, and the sense of speed in rFactor2 is unmatched in other sims that I've played. But as fun as these are on the oval, I do want to take them maybe somewhere else. I've been doing a lot of oval racing lately, and I'm going to be doing my Indy 500 this weekend and IndyCar racing too and everything. So rather than do a race at Indy, I thought I'd take them to somewhere that's maybe a little different, a little more exciting. And this is, of course, the Portland International Raceway in Portland, Oregon. I've got it set up to do a 10-lap race here with these cars, and thought this would be a cool circuit. This was raced in 1985, of course. It would be the second time kart had come to Portland, and kart raced at Portland every single year, I think, from 1984 through 2007. And luckily, IndyCar has come back to Portland, Oregon, starting in 2018. Had to miss last year, of course, but hopefully we'll be back this year. Portland's an awesome racetrack, really fast in these cars, and this version of the circuit is quite good. So let's do this. Rolling down the back straightaway at Portland. I've got 10 laps with 25 cars in front of me, 26 in total. See how far up the grid I can get, but I'm expecting the first couple of laps here to be kind of interesting, especially getting into the chicane here for the first lap. This is, like I said, the modern version of Portland, so the track's not exactly as it was in 1985, but track's almost identical as everybody checks up here. We'll come through the final corner, stuck in behind Arie Luyendyk here. Turn 12, just wait for that green flag. Right there it is. We're underway. Just try to accelerate nice and easy. Don't want to spin out the car. Danny Ungais gets by me. Fly up the gears. Bad start here. Up to fifth gear. Come down to the first corner. See if I can outbrake Danny here as we come down into the chicane. First gear. Nowhere to go. We're just going to Sunday drive it here through the chicane. Try to get back on that throttle. Nice and easy. He's able to get side by side with me, but I got the inside line headed up to turn 4 here. Down a second gear. Kevin Kogan in front. Got a couple cars off as well. I think it's Don Whittington there. See if I can snake around the inside. Whoa, are we 3 wide there? Able to get by him and Arie Luyendyk. Now we'll go through turn 6. I got Emerson Fittipaldi in front. Oh, everybody checks up, come up to turn 7. This is where the track is much wider than it was in 1985. Emerson turns in on me there. So now we'll try to get the throttle down for the back straightaway. AI much better accelerating out of the corners, at least on this initial lap. Got to get the tires up to temperature. rFactor2 tire model, of course, so some of the best that you can have. You can really feel the car move under you, from the grip on the tires and suspension to the downforce because of the aero. It feels so good, but a little bit of learning. It's not an easy car to drive at all. We'll see here probably in a few corners. Whoa! It's got Arie Luyendyk come up the inside as I'm talking too much there. I'll have to get him back here. tires will come up to temperature. Things will start feeling pretty good. Try not to slide the car at all. Getting in a slide is some of the hardest to control stuff. There we go, around the outside of Ari. Get that back. But he runs the wide line into turn 7. You can get him up the inside there if you're a little closer than that. But slamming up the gears, H pattern, which I love in cars, especially fast ones like this. It makes you feel like a racing god just slamming through the gears. Down to 4th, just floated on through that chicane. Down to 3rd, down to 2nd for the final corner. Whoa, tagged the back of Emerson Fittipaldi. Hopefully don't get much damage. I got damage on, so to see if that hurts anything. Complete another lap there. 2 laps in the books. A little bit deep through the first part of the chicane. Curbs really upset the car with the ground effect, so you can't really take the curbs too much, especially accelerating on them. It's best to avoid them overall. All right, Emmo getting checked up there. Oh, knocks me off the track. I can't stand for that. I can try to get back at him. But just like on the oval, the sense of speed is unbelievable here. These cars in rFactor2, the way the view works and everything just really makes it feel like you're going so fast. And it's quite fun. So check up once again through the final corner. I need to get a better run out of here. Turn 1's a good passing opportunity. Emerson fades to the inside a little bit. I just want to throw it up the inside there, but not a great idea. Try to stick with him here. I think I'm quicker through turns 6 and 7. A little wide through turn 4. Very narrow track here at Portland. Try to do the same thing I did to Ari there. Here we go. Up the inside. I think I got Johnny Rutherford in front now, so passing 2 cars there. Moving forward, that's what I want to be doing. Only up to 20th, though. Not quite the progress I was hoping for, but still hitting almost 180 miles an hour down the back straightaway here, which is, I can't imagine, far off from even the modern Indy cars, what they're able to do. So the quartering speeds are likely slower than modern day cars, but the ultimate high speed is just about the same, if not higher, in these cars. So the acceleration really is where it's at. Come down to first gear. Oh, 76 around the outside. I think that might be Jacques Villeneuve, but not the one you're thinking of. It's his uncle. Actually won a race in 1985. Could be a different car, but I think that's him. All right, come through, turn here. Johnny Rutherford right in front. See if I can do my favorite move, it seems. There we go, around the outside. Seems to be an easy place to pass the AI. Come up on the number 6 here. Up the inside. There we go. I think that's Pancho Carter. Fifth gear, flat out. All right, Jose La Garza in front. Fades to the inside. I'll come across the line halfway. Ooh, a little deep into turn 1, lock up the right front. These cars are a lot different than Formula 1 cars of the time period. There's definitely less aero grip happening here than you would see maybe in a Lotus 98T or something around the outside of Garza. It's a little unfair, it seems, but maybe there's a little more grip in the rain line. Got Jeff Brabham in front now. These cars cars definitely skate around more. You don't want to slide them, so you just have to be really cautious about going a little too fast into a corner. Driving pretty conservatively here, but it's working out so far. As Brabham checks up in front, maybe go around the outside of him. I got on the grass a little bit there, had to get out of it. Almost on the throttle a little too hard there. Saw the car kick out from under me. Beautiful circuit here at Portland, though. I think this one kind of kills the myth that good tracks have elevation changes, because there's very little. Make it by Brabham there, nice and easy, but very little in the way of elevation change around this circuit. But it's still such an awesome track, so I think it's just all about going with that natural terrain. This back straightaway is like nothing else, curving to the right with a wall right next to it. You instantly know you're at Portland when you see this. Out of fourth gear behind Rick Mears now, who wouldn't have raced at these circuits in 1985 because of his ankle injury. But beautiful car nonetheless. I love the yellow submarine. Run out of the chicane on him. He's able to accelerate away. A little bit of oversteer there coming out of the chicane. Oh, right under the rear wing of him. How did we not hit there? We'll come out to my favorite passing opportunity. Able to do it on Rick like the rest of them. Now behind Mario Andretti, I believe. Down to first. We'll lock up the tires coming into turn 7. Notice that the slipstream works really well in these cars as well, which is great on the ovals. On the road circuits, it'll help out on the straightaways, obviously. There's definitely a lot going on with the aero. Juggling up the inside of Andretti through the final corner. All right, so passing somewhere else for once. Come across the line. Surely have Andretti right behind me here. Come down to the first chicane. Try to get in here nice and fast. Decent move on Mario. A whole train of cars in front then. Come up the inside into turn 7, sneak in behind the 9 car here. Got Unser Jr. just a couple cars in front. One more lap to go after this. Maybe I can get a top 10 out of it. Not sure. It's quite ambitious for one lap. Look down to fourth gear. Not quite close enough to do what I did to Mario. But get a nice run out of this front straightaway. I think it's Roberto Guerrero in front of me in the 9. Set him up for turn 6. On the last lap. Oh, he's a little quicker into turn 6 than I was expecting. Oh, fades me right out to the grass. Oh, getting on the grass. I get it down at first. He successfully defended. Didn't think the AI had it in him. A little bit of an awkward line getting onto the back straightaway. So no top 10, but passing quite a few cars there. I like the move on Mario the most, I think. Come through the final corner. Oh, maybe I can get him on the front straightaway. Yeah, getting in front of Roberto Guerrero. Come to the line. Complete our fun race here. So this was exactly the medicine that I needed, and hopefully helped satiate some of you as well. I think leading up to the Indy 500, just always want to do IndyCar stuff, and this mod itself snuck under the radar, even for me, being an avid Indy fan. Just seeing that it was a demo, I didn't quite think it was done, but clearly there's a lot of substance here, and definitely one that should be recognized. rFactor2 is a great sim, and I spent quite a lot of time getting this to work and racing in rFactor2 with various things, even since the last video I did. Once you get rFactor2 set up, it's amazing. Like you saw there, I thought that race was pretty entertaining. I wish the AI was a little better in a couple spots on the track, but overall they're pretty competitive, and driving the cars itself just feels so good. I wish all of the tracks were of this quality. This is a really good one. It's one of the default tracks for the game. So if all of the tracks were like this, if we had more oval tracks, if we had period correct tracks, please, if anybody's out there that makes tracks for rFactor2, I just beg, please make some older tracks and things that would be fun to race on these cars, especially some ovals. Would love to race somewhere other than Indianapolis with these, but Indy's fine, and I love Indy, and I'm very excited for the Indy 500 this weekend. I hope you are as well, and I hope this was a little bit of entertainment to hold us all over till the big day comes. So thank you for watching. Hope you thought this was interesting. Let me know if there's some other tracks and things you think would be fun to try out with it, and I'll see you all again next time.